when wrist drip slip through the pitfalls. I just wanna chill with the big dogs. House on the hill with a big dog. Make it a ride, I'm taking a lot. So it's about time that I get what I got. And it's about time that I get what I need. And yes, I'm needy, I need to succeed. Know what I need it all. So I don't live with my back to the wall. Don't have to answer whenever you call. Who that on the line, it don't matter, dog. Oh, not at all. Oh, what a gift. Just to be rich and not giving a shit. Just to be rich and not giving a shit. Pinky up, I'm gonna take me a sip.
I need the cash, money signs on every bag. Green in the eye of each lad. Pockets so fat like I'm smuggling packs. I only deal with my time in these maps. Role playing the tactician and craft. Art of success, if I dub it, is that. As dinners in fact guarantee for a hunter. When I see in the mirror who trumping. I need my anthem to blare with some trumpets. Mama's fair for repair and she also consistently stable and nothing could offset me. A boss type beat, lead the starship stream through outer space. I'm a star, baby boo, better watch the race. And you'll see me live today and die trying to just don't break. Except all the bread we make with two hands. Better get your ball together and stretch bands. Do it all for as long as you can. Get your sandwich ready and go hand. The baloney niggas just can't comprehend.
Yo, cash rules everything around me. In that I am drowning, cause I don't know accounting. Blame it on my school system, blame it on my county. In that I am drowning, blame it on my clowning. Blame it on my young and my dumb, and not knowing where it's from, and not knowing where it's going. Might as well throw it in the ocean. As I put my back in motion, might as well throw it on some drinks. Hit a Miami for 2 weeks, might as well throw it on the beach. I don't give a fuck about the economy. They ain't never helping those in poverty. They ain't never coming here to save you. Waiting on that trickle down in your brain boots. You the blood, sweat, and tears of this whole operation, though. You will make it operational, but don't deserve paid vacation, though. I don't know what I look like. Boo boo the fool, I'm losing my cool. I need to make moves, get my community under a groove. Like one nation, so we never lose. Nothing can stop us now. They will not knock us down. We will not chill while they chop us down. That is not simply allowed. I'm not the one to kowtow. Cash rules everything around me. In that I am drowning, cause I don't know accounting. Blame it on my school system, blame it on my county. In that I am drowning, blame it on my clowning. Blame it on my young and my dumb, and not knowing where it's from, and not knowing where it's going. Might as well throw it in the ocean. I put my back in motion, might as well throw it on some drinks. In a Miami for 2 weeks, might as well throw it on the beach. Oh yeah. She love to back it up when we in the club. She love show me love. Oh yeah. She love to back it up when we in the club. She love show me love. Oh yeah.
Baby girl, hold it right there. 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 Baby girl, hold it right there.
I would like to be traded to any other team but the New England Patriots.
Big brain predictions. That's what I got.
Take it off, sir.
The Washington football team beat the Steelers.
Right.
And that person.
EDP.
Yes, but if we lose this game, I firmly believe we do not need to make playoffs. So
Don't you ever disrespect
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode number 75. I am your co-host, Shayla Brown.
I'm your other big-headed co-host, Shaquille Brown.
And I'm your co-host in morning, Malin, how's everybody doing?
Folks, want to make sure that you can see Malin in all his glory here.
I'm doing a lot better than Malin is, clearly, as you can hear it in his voice.
Man, shut up. Your quarterback is Mason Rudolph. Shut up. Let's not do this right
Yeah,
now.
we've already started.
All right. It's going to be an all night, folks. I hope y'all ain't planning to go to bed no time soon.
There's not even. We are waiving the 3 forehead joke rule for tonight, people.
They're about to hit
As many
15
jokes
in the
as I
record.
wanna make.
Yes,
Not
folks. This is going to be a very interesting show tonight. Before we get into everything, I wanted to, of course, mention at the top of the show, like we always do, if you are not... Okay. The computer itself is having trouble keeping up with Malin. That's how heavy the morning is. If you are not watching the show and you're only listening to it, you can click the first link down in your podcast description to watch the live version here every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Or you can just watch the replay right here on Melheim's Media, the YouTube channel. Either way, click that same link. You'll be taken to the YouTube live stream or the replay. Click subscribe. That way you can keep up every single Wednesday and with all the other shows that are here on the channel. And then vice versa. If you just want to listen to the show, for the YouTube people, click your first link in the description. That will take you to the audio version of the show. And without any further ado, gentlemen, let's take our opening shot before we get into this goat show. Cheers.
What are you guys drinking?
The same rum as last week. It is Ron Zapato, if I remember correctly.
You had 7 days to pronounce it. Well, I just took a shot of the tears of a bygone decade. It's great. It's a little salty. That about it.
Is that what you actually took a shot of?
Oh, it was Buffalo Trace, but it might as well been.
Yeah, with me.
That's.
I'm not gonna. It's a cop,
We're here,
not
we might as well just get to the shit. Might as
Yeah.
well just get into it as well.
The name of that run was Ron Zacapa, not Zaccato, or whatever the hell I just said. Anyway,
That sounds like fun.
we are going to start off with the big bombshell that we had yesterday afternoon that came out. The fact that the end of an era has occurred in Seattle, and Russell Wilson is no longer with the Seahawks, traded to the Denver Broncos for some draft picks, Noah Fant. What's the linebacker's name, Malin?
Shelby Davis, he's the defense. Or Shelby Harris.
Harris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
Denver obviously got Russ and a late round draft pick. Malin, we're going to obviously start with
Fourth
you
round.
on this one.
Yeah, so, I know we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, in a little bit, but then, like, earlier in the day, the news broke that Aaron Rodgers was going to stay in Green Bay, right? And then they started talking about that contract. And in our group chat, I said, it's going to be impossible for Seattle to keep Russell Wilson. One of two things was going to happen. Either teams were going to up the trade for Russell Wilson because they couldn't get Aaron Rodgers, or Seattle was going to let him play out his contract next year, and then he was going to want an extension. There was no way that Seattle was going to pay him $51 million a year. But what I didn't expect was that 2 hours later, all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up that Russell Wilson was traded. So yes, it was 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. They got a 5th-round pick. They got Noah Fant. They got Shelby Harris, and then they sent over Russell Wilson at a 4th-round pick. So there's 7 stages of grief, gentlemen. 7 of them. I think I'm at number 4 right now. The first is shock. You're like, really? This happened like the same day? Like, we couldn't even give Aaron Rodgers the limelight that he so richly wants in his life, the attention. We couldn't let him have that attention for a day.
No.
Before we did that. Apparently not. There was shock that one, he went to the Broncos. He will be the first quarterback in NFL history to start for a team that he beat in a Super Bowl. It's just odd to me. You're going 8 years ago, they just beat the brakes off of Denver. Now he's going to be wearing that ugly ass orange color. And then you go to like pain, some guilt, start thinking about what you might have had. Because it was a good 10-year run. They made the playoffs all but 2 years that Russell Wilson was quarterback for the Seahawks. So 8 out of 10 years. One of those years, last year, obviously, was hurt. But a winning record up until this last year. Then you hit some anger. You start getting mad. Definitely hit the anger stage. Because his agent is Mark Rodgers, who's a baseball agent. The only player that he has on his docket isn't NFL players, Russell Wilson. And I feel like he kind of fueled this. I think he wanted Russell Wilson to leave Seattle. Apparently, when John Schneider went and watched the workout of Josh Allen several years ago, apparently that made Mark Rodgers and Russell Wilson upset that they did that. Well, they probably should have dumped his ass then and drafted Josh Allen, because look how that's working out for Buffalo. That's great. So a lot of anger there. And then you hit some depression. Yep, the depression kind of sits in there. So what we're looking at now is you traded away a generational quarterback in his prime because he didn't want to be there anymore. And you got 2 first-round draft picks, which is great because you gave up 2 first-round draft picks for Jamal fucking Adams. So I'm glad that we had to get rid of Russell Wilson to get those back. That's cute. You get 2 second-round picks, which Seattle doesn't even draft in the second round anyways outside of DK Metcalf. They usually trade back to the 5th and 6th round. That's cute. Then we get Noah Fant. Noah Fant is a tight end. As a case of the drops. The man averages about 65 catches a year, 670 yards, and 4 touchdowns. What is he averaging? You know what else he's averaging? 12 drops a year. 12. Sir. At this point, put fucking super glue on your hands. Alright, just do it. Then we get Shelby Harris, a 32-year-old defensive lineman who's good. He's good. He averages about 40 tackles, 4 sacks, really good in the run game. That's nice. But you're also talking about, Seattle with all these draft picks. They've done shit in the draft for the last 7 years. Gone are the days where they drafted Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, all late rounds except for Earl Thomas, who was a first-round draft pick. They not even Pro Bowl players. They've only drafted, I think, 3 starters in like 4 years. That's not good. That's fine. Whatever. So yeah, it's interesting. I got a lot more to say about it. I want to go to you guys. What do you guys think about it?
First off, shout out to Brian in the live chat. Shout out to G Money in the live chat. G Money says, "I went from shocked to drunk. I just skipped the other steps." Shout out G Money.
Me and G Money did that together last night. There was a lengthy conversation.
That makes sense.
There was a lot of pores.
Yeah, it was definitely shock without a doubt. Especially because like you said, the Aaron Rodgers news was just a couple hours prior. So, you get hit with that bombshell and you figure that's it for at least the day. And then just a couple hours later, it's like, what the hell? Especially Denver, of all teams, was like extremely out of left field. Yeah, it's strange, like just strange to think of him in those, like the orange and blue, playing at that stadium is going to be just a wild thing to behold. That division, we'll probably get into that in a little while, but that division is going to be absolutely bananas now. For what Seattle got in return, like you said, Malin, no real big names. I mean, like you said, Shelby Harris, like Drew Lock, Noah Fant, nothing to make you like, all right, there's some promise there.
I didn't mention Drew Lock on purpose. We're not saying that name during the show.
He was in the footnotes of the trade. Yeah.
Under the foot of somebody. He couldn't even beat out Teddy Bridgewater last year. Small hands Teddy. Couldn't even beat out small hands Teddy.
I'm just trying to figure out how Seattle did not manage to demand more in return, because Denver's full of talent. So when I was looking at who was exchanged, I was like, that's it? I mean, yeah, the first round picks are nice, but...
Well, this goes perfectly into the anger segment of what I was feeling in my 7 stages of grief, right? This was, at the end of the day, this is all Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay. Seattle did not want to trade Russell Wilson. He wanted to leave. Okay. Now, I'm talking about a quarterback that has given me, like, the 10 best years as a Seahawks fan that I'll ever have. I'll always be grateful to that. But what happened, this is reported by Greg Bell, who is a newspaper writer, columnist in Seattle. He reported this today. That, like I just said, this was all Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson wanted out. He made it clear to Seattle that he didn't want to be there and that he wasn't going to re-up. He wasn't going to sign an extension with Seattle. And so he wanted out. And he also mentioned on the Today Show that he wanted to stay on the West Coast. So that really only left Denver, right? So people have been saying, and people have been like taking Seattle to the woodshed over, well, you turned down Washington's 3 first-round picks. You turned down Chicago's 3 first-round picks. Russell Wilson has a no-trade clause. He nixed all of those. Didn't want to go to those teams. It was pretty evident that it was Denver or bust that he wanted to go to. Now, Greg Bell reported that Denver offered 3 different packages to Seattle. Each time, Russell Wilson said no, he would not sign his no-trade clause as long as Denver was offering 3 first-round picks. Because he did not want a team that he was going to give up that draft capital. So he held Seattle hostage. And Denver knew it. And so then they had to come back with the 2 first rounds, the second rounds, and a couple players that may or may not work out. And Drew Lock, that, I mean, I don't know, maybe he can park the next quarterback's car. I don't know. But Russell Wilson having that no-trade clause, which there were only 8 players in the NFL to have a no-trade clause, he was able to say no to whatever trade that Seattle put in front of him that he thought that the team that was going to get him was giving up too much.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. And so people are trying to kill Seattle for only getting 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a 5th and a few players. There were better deals that Denver offered that Russell Wilson said no, he wasn't going to do that because he didn't want to deplete the talent and the draft capital of Denver because he knew that was the team that he was going to end up going to. So Russell Wilson kind of stuck it to Seattle and in the end there. But Seattle had to do what they could to get what they could from a generational type talent that wasn't going to stay in Seattle at the end of the day. Like, they had to end up getting something for him. So, Shaq, what do you think?
Yeah, where do you stand on all this, Shaq?
Look, I think Russell made the best choice for him and his opportunity for finishing off his dynasty. Of course, I still feel like, of course, Seattle kind of got fucked over when it came to talent and picks and everything. But he's like, yeah, fuck Seattle. I'll make sure that I can get what I need when I go to Denver. And of course, y'all got screwed over. Hopefully, with your quarterback options, Russell trying to get his another ring or so out of the Denver, and this is the best opportunity to go to Denver and get the best opportunity he can.
Okay.
So it's like,
Can we talk about this for a second? Do you really think that him going to Denver is the best opportunity for him?
no, I mean, I feel like he had other team opportunities that could work out better for him, but where he wanted to go, being that side of the coast,
Yeah.
Denver would be the best option.
Okay.
If you were to open it up to all the other teams, it would have been better options.
Okay, I'm just saying that offensive weapons has better wide receivers.
He has better wide receivers, better
Seattle or Denver.
yeah. Rather than Denver, there's so much other better teams, but with the options that he narrowed it down to where he wanted to go, that was
Okay,
gonna be the best
what
option.
I'm saying, but what I'm saying though is who has better wide receivers, Seattle or Denver?
Seattle, but I do think Denver, their old line, I would have liked to imagine will
Was
hold up.
trash last year.
I mean,
Trash last year.
I think he's
like
just.
to hold up
They
better
were
than
rated worse than
Seattle's.
Seattle's O line.
I think he was just fed up with
They were-
Seattle
no,
on a whole.
No,
He's just fed up with that
Pro
team.
Football Focus had Denver ranked 21st and Seattle's offensive line ranked 12th. The one thing that people don't realize is that Pro Football Focus has accounted or attributed 38% of the sacks that Russell Wilson has taken over his career to him, not the offensive line, because of the way he scrambles.
I think it's just him, and
Just
he has a
the
problem with
overall
head
line.
office and people in Seattle more so than the team in and of itself. He's probably just fed up with what's going on, the process. That he's probably not getting what he necessarily wants or picking. So he's like, screw it, I'm gonna go to another team that may be more willing to do what I want them to do per se.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about Russell Wilson. Like I said, gave us the 10 best years that I've ever seen as a Seattle fan, right? But let's not act like it's all been great. Over the last 7 years, there were 12 quarterbacks with more playoff wins than Russell Wilson. 12. You want to know who has more playoff wins than Russell Wilson in the last 7 years? Nick Foles.
Jesus.
Nick Foles. Matthew Stafford, with 1 year with the Rams, has more playoff wins than Russell Wilson in the last 7 years.
I'm gonna guess
This is what he was able to do.
Garoppolo's probably
What?
in there.
Yep, Garoppolo's there. Garoppolo's one of them. You know who is tied with all-time playoff wins with Russell Wilson at 9? Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. Want to know how many playoff wins Russell Wilson had in his first 3 years in the league? 5. He's won 4 playoff games in 7 years. His average stats are 58% completion percentage, 230 yards passing in the playoffs, 25 touchdowns, and I think it's 8 interceptions. No, 12 interceptions. 12 interceptions. 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in 16 games. That's basically an entire season that he's had in the playoffs in 25 and 12. So I understand that he gets frustrated with certain things, but he comes up just as small in the playoffs the last 7 years as Aaron Rodgers, and people are killing
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers for it. And the man's never had an MVP vote. So I think he's feeling himself a little bit. They let Russ cook in 2020, and he was an MVP candidate the first half of the season, and the wheels fell off. He started playing like shit, and he hasn't played the same in the last 18 months. So I don't know. It sucks that he's gone. But if you were to ask me after next year, would I've wanted Seattle to give him $51 million a year? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted that at all. No team has won the Super Bowl with their quarterback making over 13% of the salary cap. Russell Wilson would have been making close to 20% of that at $51 million. Just wasn't going to happen. But beyond, like Russell Wilson being gone, what actually truly made me sad last night was the Seahawks releasing Bobby Wagner.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a double punch.
That, yeah,
yeah, it was a double punch. I was trying to digest that, and then all of a sudden I find out Bobby Wagner's gone. And I knew that it was going to happen as soon as they traded Russell Wilson because he's a 32-year-old linebacker. And you're not going to rebuild around a 32-year-old linebacker when you owe him $20 million next year. Yeah. They saved $16.6 million under the cap. In total, with trading Russell Wilson and releasing Bobby Wagner with the cap they already had, they're upwards of close to $70 million in cap space, and they have 10 draft picks. So they're setting themselves up pretty good. But you're talking about a linebacker that's going to the Hall of Fame. Played 10 years in the league. He had 8 Pro Bowls, 8 first-time All-Pros, and led the league in tackles with 1,386 tackles since 2012. People want to talk about Patrick Willis. They want to talk about Luke Kuechly. They want to talk about people like Brian Urlacher and all these people. Bobby Wagner has been the best linebacker ever since he came into the league. I mean, you're talking about a guy that he was quarterbacking the defense from the time he was a rookie. And when he was a rookie, the Legion of Boom was there. You already had the personalities of Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, and Earl Thomas. And he was stepping into that huddle and calling the plays in the defense from the time he was a rookie. And so he's the he's the last player from that Super Bowl team in 2013. But I think, like that's who I'm really sad about. You'll notice I'm wearing a Bobby Wagner jersey, not a Russell Wilson jersey. Because I think that Bobby Wagner was more important to the franchise over the last 10 years than Russell Wilson. He's the surefire Hall of Fame player. So,
like you said, they're setting themselves up really good, per se, with the money they have to offer people and the potential of drafting really good players. So I'm gonna give you that. They could possibly still set themselves up well, but you wasn't set up for maybe a growth period for that time that comes after that.
I'm laughing because in just the past couple of years, you guys have picked up Jamal Adams, and drafting-wise, you guys have not exactly been the best at drafting these past couple of years. How optimistic are you, Malin, moving forward with this available space and picks now?
Okay, well, the thing that sucks about Jamal Adams is that they traded for someone like Jamal Adams to try to make Russell Wilson happy.
Mm-hmm.
To try to get more stalwarts on defense, and they overvalued it, but they were desperate because they were trying to placate him, wanting to make him happy, trying to do something on defense. They got rid of, Brian Schottenheimer, who I thought was actually a pretty decent offensive coordinator for somebody else. They're letting go of coordinators. They're trying to reinvent their defense. They're trying to do all these things to make Russell Wilson happy. So the difference, they have not been good the last 7 years in the draft versus the first 4 years that Pete Carroll and John Schneider were there. But there's a difference between the first 3 to 4 years and the last 7 years. The first 3 to 4 years, they were drafting to build a team that can compete for a Super Bowl. The last 7 years, they were drafting to try to maintain a roster that was already talented, to keep them relevant, keep them going to the playoffs. They failed in that aspect. So if they can go back to the way that they were drafting before, where they're looking to build a team to compete for a Super Bowl versus trying to maintain a roster to keep competing, then maybe I got a little bit more confidence in that. I would love for Seattle to ship off Jamal Adams and some sort of trade asset for another quarterback, maybe Deshaun Watson, who's about to have his hearing on Friday to see if the grand jury is going to actually indict him or not. And if they don't, God bless, go get him. He's 26 years old. I don't give a crap. Whatever you do with a masseuse, that's on you, buddy. But I don't know. I mean, like, they built a contender before. But that was 10 years ago. Can they do it again? I don't know. They got tons of draft picks. They got tons of money to be able to spend. It's hard for me to necessarily look at the future right now because I keep kind of reflecting and like over the last decade. And a couple things that are really sad about the last decade, like, yes, we won a Super Bowl. Okay, if you have a Hall of Fame type quarterback, and you can say that you at least won a Super Bowl, then I think it was worth it. Okay, there's plenty of people that don't win Super Bowls that are really talented people. Phillip Rivers, Dan Marino, Dan Fouts. There's plenty of quarterbacks. Jim Kelly, right? So we got a Super Bowl out of it. It kind of comes down to one of the most pivotal plays in NFL history is that Malcolm Butler interception. I mean, you want to think about rewriting the history of the NFL. How many teams win back-to-back Super Bowls? I think there's only 4 of them. Seattle could have been the 5th. Tom Brady could have lost 3 straight Super Bowls in a row. Who knows what would have happened in New England at that point? I know you're happy about Jalen. Wipe that smirk off your fucking face. But you know, like, that play could have started something beyond special and record-setting in Seattle, or it could have led to what the Patriots ended up doing like the last 6 years. So I do think that is like one of the more pivotal moments in NFL history. But another thing that's kind of sad is that defense, the Legion of Boom, right? It seems that every player that was a pivotal point of the Seahawks, they keep leaving in like terrible circumstances.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson forcing a trade. Crazy stat is that Cam Chancellor, Cliff Averill, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Bobby Wagner, their last moments as a Seahawk was on the IR. Because they all got hurt and put on IR the last year that they were a Seahawk. Most of them actually got hurt in Arizona, so I hate that stadium. But so many people ended up leaving like unceremoniously and never really got that send-off that they deserved. So every time one of these big players leaves from Seattle, it's like a little bit more sad and painful, and maybe like a Tom Brady just choosing to go to Tampa after, doing what he like. There's a lot more heartache involved, and a lot more what ifs. Being a Seahawks fan right now.
G Money says we just didn't pay attention to Bobby when he said he didn't think he'd be with the team come 2022, and he was right. And then he just said the Seahawks took a lot of chances in the draft in the last 7 years and have only hit a few times. Jordan Brooks looks good. Damian Lewis is solid at guard, and Darrell Taylor at defensive end looks good. Yeah, they were all drafted last year.
And listen, Frank Clark ended up being a solid pick, but he plays for the Chiefs now. But I mean, outside of that, we're talking like 5 picks in the last 5 years. I mean, come on. Yeah. So they gotta get better at drafting. At this point, I would do what the Rams do. Just get rid of the scratch-off tickets that's a draft pick because you don't know what it's going to end up being, and get proven commodity. Get players in there. So, I don't know.
At the end of the day, to me, this kind of just shows the past, I guess, 2 years now in the NFL. It just, like, the 2 past teams that have won it all took deep plunges and just kind of went for the home runs in the offseason, and it has paid off for them, for Tampa and for LA. It seems like, trying to build it up piece by piece or in the draft and, slowly build a team. There's only 2 years of evidence of this, but it seems like the new wave is just to go all in, write a bunch of checks, and just make big splashes.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads me to a question for you guys, because, like, Russell Wilson is now in the AFC West, right? So he goes from the NFC West, which is a pretty tough division, to the AFC West. So, like, where would you rate the 4 quarterbacks in the AFC West right now, given who is in that division?
Shaq, I'd love to hear what your 4 are.
I mean, I still, as much as we dog Russ for what he's done over there, I still put him as top 2 quarterbacks out there when it comes to performance wise. I still got a lot of faith in that man to really make plays and do things that he's very capable still. Will not sleep man, so I would definitely put him as top 2. It's just I feel like it's very close when it comes to some of these quarterbacks out there in that division right there. So it's just hard for me.
So who's number?
Yeah, so
okay.
who's one
Okay.
in?
Who's number 4 in the AFC West?
I already got to think about this now.
Shouldn't be that hard for number 4. if you don't say Derek Carr,
I mean, of course. I mean, is that the obvious one, Derek Carr? But like, I feel like the other 3 would be very much a toss-up
right.
with it.
So who? Okay, so who's number 3 in your mind?
Why am I being put on the spot trying to think of these? So I know everybody immediately put the ranking was like Shaq.
Okay.
So
Let me go and do my rankings since Shaq is fearful that I'm gonna start making forehead jokes.
because that's exactly what you're gonna do, regardless of who I think of what.
So Derek Carr is obviously number 4, right? Okay, and I think everyone can agree that Patrick Mahomes is number 1 right now. Okay,
Right.
He's won an MVP. He's been to a couple Super Bowls. The man's uber talented, super young, right? I'm actually going to put Justin Herbert number 2 in that division. He has not made it to the playoffs, but statistically, he's been better than Russell Wilson the last 2 years. And I just painted the picture of the last 7 years of Russell Wilson in the postseason, which he's made the postseason, and he's come up small with a talented roster that's won the division 3 times. Hell, he went 12-4 in 2020. And you want to know what his stats were in the playoffs against the Rams in 2020? It was 11 of 27, 40% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns and an interception with a 72 rating. That was the last time that he played playoff football. That's not top 5 quarterback play, in my opinion. Now, I would still put Russell Wilson like top 10 in the NFL, but I have Mahomes and Herbert over him based on their age. They're younger. They're not like Herbert's not costing as much, and I think that the Chargers and the Chiefs have a better roster than the Broncos. So I don't like. I think that it's going to be just as hard given that division, and you got Burrow, you got Josh Allen, and you got Lamar Jackson.
I would only question it as putting Wilson as number 2 over Herbert, and then Mahomes, Wilson, Herbert, then Carr. That's what I would put it as. I still, as much as the stats wise say it, I still have a little bit more faith in Wilson to be a little bit above Herbert when it comes to giving him a chance on this new team and new everything. So
I'm going to G Money has your same list, Malin. I do agree with the Seattle fans on this one, and I'm not just saying that just to disagree with Shaq, but when I was thinking about this earlier, that was such a hard toss up. But to me, it just boiled down to if I was starting a team and 2 available quarterbacks I could pick from was either Herbert or Wilson. Right now, I would take Herbert just because of the more promising future and for what he has shown so far. His trajectory should be pretty far up there. So,
and again, it's not that Wilson's not a top 10 quarterback in the league, especially when healthy. He is, right? But he's 32 years old now. The last 2 years, he has not been running the ball. He has not been as elusive. He's been getting sacked more in the backfield when he's been trying to make some of those magic plays. And he has the best deep ball in the league. Russell Wilson does, bar none. You want to go ahead and throw it to the sidelines. You want to go ahead and throw it deep. That man is money. He cannot hit in the middle of the field, and that's always been a knock on Russell Wilson because he can't see over the offensive line. The middle of the field in today's NFL is just open field duck hunt. It's just pitch and catch. Russell Wilson has never been able to do that. And so that's why I have Herbert number 2. Like, it's not to try to knock Wilson because I do love Wilson. I just think that in the AFC West, I think he's going to have just as hard of a time, if not a more difficult time, getting to a Super Bowl in the AFC West and the AFC than in the NFC West because he was a quarterback in the NFC or in the NFC West. I think he's better than Stafford. I still think he's better than Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray only plays half a year. And Jimmy G, we're not even going to talk about Jimmy G. So he went from being the best quarterback in this division to arguably the third, maybe the second.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think it's going to be hard. Like, that division is going to be crazy this year.
And with that, we will move out of this segment and into the news for the week, even though kind of the first half of this entire show was all news, but here we go.
Today's top stories and breaking news.
All right, news for the week. We're going to start off with, we mentioned this earlier, but Aaron Rodgers re-signs with the Packers for 4 more years. Grand total of $153 million guaranteed. He did come out and say, I think maybe yesterday or today, Aaron Rodgers, it can't just be straightforward. He had to come out and say the numbers aren't accurate, like this isn't right. He did say that he resigned, but like the figures were wrong or whatever. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers. I don't get why he couldn't just be like, happy to be back. Let's go for, let's try this again. Thanks for having me back. Blessed to have this huge contract. Let's go. No, he has to once again do his I'm smarter than everybody else. You guys can't possibly know the details of my contract. What do you guys think of Aaron? Even after all this, by the way, all the drama of is he staying, leaving, ends up staying anyway. What do you guys think of Aaron Rodgers?
My short 2 cents is, at his age of Aaron Rodgers and his length of the court is like in his NFL, I think he might be slightly overpaid for where he's at the NFL. How much of Aaron Rodgers will you get for the next 4 years? Does he stay healthy enough? Will he be able to play $153 million guaranteed for the next couple of years? That's the issue that I have. Maybe if he had a young, youthful quarterback who was talented, I can agree. But like, this man would not put out that much worth. And seeing as his workload when it comes to postseason and what he puts out postseason, I just don't see him worth this amount of money.
Unfortunately, they kind of had to, just because that's the going rate.
That's the going rate, but unfortunately, I think I expect his talent, still one of the top tier quarterbacks. Like, I just think for the next 4 years, that's a long stretch for Aaron Rodgers to be getting this amount of money in hopes that he will stay healthy. To think about it, his old age, and then man blows out his something, not to jinx him. Come first season of thing, has to sit out the rest of the season. It's like, you paying this man a whole lot of money to be sitting on the sidelines if anything happens.
The other thing that we should mention, Malin, if you want to mention, what's the interesting part about this whole contract that works in his favor?
Okay, so a couple things about this. One, I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play next year because Shaq just cursed him. So
I wouldn't
he's
be
about
mad
to
at
make a
that
lot
at
of money for doing nothing. He sent out the tweet saying to people that know about the contract details. Why? Because he got overshadowed by Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers got 1 hour of publicity, and then all of a sudden, everyone was talking about Russell Wilson. He was like, wait. I'm over here. Talk about me a little bit, and still nobody really talked about it.
Right.
That's how tired everybody is of Aaron Rodgers.
Keep guessing my contract.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is getting $153 million guaranteed in 4 years at $200 million. not just because he's Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay is not just paying to keep a quarterback. They're paying to stay relevant.
Yep.
Because they whiffed on Jordan Love. Okay. He is not the quarterback of the future. Every time he's touched the field in the regular season, it hasn't been good. By all intents and purposes, what you hear from practices and stuff like that in preseason, he's not looking good. He still has 2 years left on his rookie deal. But Green Bay knows that they're not a free agent destination. They know that. And they're not going from a Brett Favre to an Aaron Rodgers to another heir apparent. Yeah. They don't have that other heir apparent right now. Right? So they need to stay relevant for as long as possible. And they franchised Devontae Adams.
Yep.
Okay, they franchised him yesterday, so they're going to pay him $20 million. Which means that they are tying up 30% of their cap space in 2 players.
Yep.
2 players, 30% of the cap space. Now, Russell Wilson's no longer in the NFC. Okay? So you really think about the quarterbacks in the NFC. Tom Brady's retired. A lot of people seem to be thinking that Tom Brady's going to end up in San Francisco, which is interesting. I think it's going to happen over the summer. I've been hearing a lot of chatter about that. Even though Bruce Arians came out and said that they wouldn't trade him because that's not good business. But a lot of people seem to think that. But let's pretend for a second that Tom Brady stays retired. Aaron Rodgers has Matt Stafford, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott is really the only other 3 quarterbacks that are quarterbacking teams that could really kind of give him a run for the money in the playoffs. Like, he's going to have another couple years with this roster to do something. And he needs to win a Super Bowl. The last 2 years have been catastrophic. Number 1 seed, MVP. You get ousted at home in Lambeau in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. And you get ousted by Jimmy G and the 49ers last year in the divisional round. That can't happen again. So, I mean, I get why they gave him the money. But I don't know if I answered your question. I kind of feel like you had something particular about this money, Jalen. You got some inside info that I don't have, which is weird. I normally know everything.
Basically, I'm just saying, like, at any time, he can call it quits throughout his deal. Apparently, he can just pack up and throw in the towel and be like, so he's this drama that we've all been hearing this past couple years is still not over. Like, he's gonna keep doing this dance for at least another 4 years.
It is believed in his contract that $153 million guaranteed. The Packers can't go after that money, even if he retires after next year. Okay. So that is something that I heard. Now, we don't have all the contract details, so I don't know if that's 100% true or not. But here's the interesting thing. And I think Nick Wright brought this up. I was watching FS1 earlier today. That now that he's re-signed with the Packers, all the excuses are gone.
Yep.
He can't use the Jordan Love situation. Right. He can't use the, I'm upset with the front office. No, you can't complain about all this stuff and then re-up for 4 years, $200 million. And then if things don't work out, use that as the reason why you weren't successful or why you're upset. So the Jordan Love conversation is gone. You can't complain about them drafting that quarterback anymore. You can't complain about the front office. They gave you your money. They franchised Devontae Adams. They got you your guy. It's put up or shut up time.
Yeah.
For Aaron Rodgers, because arguably, outside of Russell Wilson, he's the most talented quarterback in the NFL over the last decade that's underperformed in the postseason. Yeah. And he's underperformed even more than Russell Wilson did. And I just told you how bad Russell Wilson's been in the playoffs the last 7 years. Aaron Rodgers is not much better. He's been to 4 straight NFC up until this year, he was at 4 straight NFC championship games. Never made it back to a Super Bowl. Everyone back in 2010, when they beat the Steelers, I'm sorry, Shaq, to bring that up. But when they won that Super Bowl, everyone thought that Aaron Rodgers was gonna be greater than Tom Brady. You remember that? Because at that time, Tom Brady had lost the Super Bowl. He was 3-1 in the Super Bowl. He hadn't even won 4 yet. Now Aaron Rodgers wins one, and the Packers, and they just beat the Steelers, and they're going to go on this run, and it never happened. And Aaron Rodgers is a big reason why that never happened, because he comes up small in the postseason.
I just don't think they get any better. They got to spit out all this money for them to still be in the same position they've been in the past couple seasons. And it's kind of going to pay out all this money and not be able to get any more new talent to surround this man. And it's kind of like, now what was it worth?
But let me ask you this question, though. Is anybody in the NFC actually going to get better?
No, we did not. But it's just like, it's just upsetting to me they could do this just to stay in the same spot they were in. They could pay all this money just to stay the same.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Niners are going to end up going to Trey Lance, right?
Right.
Who is unproven. We all had him ranked 3rd or 4th out of rookie quarterbacks last year. Okay. The Rams, they're not going to be able to keep everybody. Hell, Aaron Donald hasn't even decided whether he's coming back yet. Von Miller is out there sending tweets that he might be going back to Denver, which that would piss me off if that happens, because I don't want Russell Wilson to ever go back to the playoffs. And then you have the Cowboys, right? They're getting rid of Amari Cooper.
Yep.
They're not able to keep everybody they have. Arizona is not going to win in the second half of the year again. And so it's not like the NFC is primed for the Packers for the next 2 years to do something.
Unfortunately.
They should be able to do it. I mean, they already have like Aaron Jones is already locked up. They got the running game. They got Devontae Adams back. They got Aaron Rodgers. He needs to trust more than just Devontae Adams. But I mean, like, it's Aaron Rodgers' conference to lose at this point. There's no Tom Brady going to the Bucks type of situation that's gonna keep him from being the front runner.
I just feel a weird feeling. It's like him being a Hall of Fame quarterback for as long as he's been biggest contender, one of the bigger contenders. There's still something about A-Rod. Just like, I feel like he is his worst enemy when it comes to everything. And I feel like sometimes will get in his own way when it comes down to it when it comes postseason. So that's my own issue. Take out everybody else, I feel like he will get in his own way when it comes to after regular season.
Yep.
And my thing is not like I'm an A-Rod hater. I love Aaron Rodgers as like a quarterback. Hate him as a person, love him as a player. But like, I feel like it's just something about him just underperforms when he needs to.
No, and you're totally right about that, because he has underperformed in the playoffs. Now, he's had some cool moments in the playoffs. I mean, a few years ago, he did have that Hail Mary that went into the end zone that beat the Cardinals. Like, he's had his moments. But when push comes to shove, in the NFC Championship game or in the divisional round, he does not show up the way that you would think that Aaron Rodgers should show up, especially a 2-time defending MVP.
And that's the difference
over the last 2 years.
That's the difference between him and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's like, I don't need this gigantic big plays to make a difference. I just need to be consistent when it comes to postseason and do my thing, and it gets him there. Whereas Tom Brady's like, I got about 6 good plays come postseason. Anything outside of that, I'm going to be middle of the pack quarterback when it comes to everything else. And it's just very upsetting sometimes.
Well, another interesting thing about Aaron Rodgers that I've heard about is that people say that he cares so much about his touchdown to interception ratio at this point in his career that he doesn't take chances. And he always takes the safe play because he doesn't want to throw the interception. And that's going to be the biggest thing. If he's going to succeed, if he's going to win another Super Bowl, he's got to air it out. He's got to be the Aaron Rodgers of 2010 to 2015 versus the Aaron Rodgers of 2016 to 2022. It just doesn't want to throw more than 5 interceptions a year. So he has been playing it way too safe.
All right, enough about Aaron Rodgers. Moving out of that one, another quarterback here. Carson Wentz just today was traded to the Commanders for 2 third-round picks. Indy made it pretty clear that they were furious with the fact that they lost their playoff chances after that loss to the Jags, and they needed to do something to take that anger out. And Carson Wentz caught the end of that one and shipped him right over to Washington. So the Commanders, now they got Carson Wentz as the go-to guy. I guess you'd say face of the franchise. I don't know. I guess still Chase Young, but what do you guys think about Carson Wentz being in Washington?
Well, first of all, I'm never gonna call them the Commanders. They're the Redskins. I don't care if we need to get canceled. They're the Redskins. This is ridiculous. Jerseys are stupid. Everything's stupid. Like, Commanders, come on. Like, what are you the commander of?
The bottom of the
Sexual
NFC.
assault cases with your owner? Is that what you're the commander of? Like, shut up. So here's the one thing I'll say about Carson Wentz over this last year. Yes, they did not make the playoffs, but if I were to tell you that there was a quarterback that completed 68% of their passes for 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, I would probably say that's a pretty good year for that quarterback, right?
Right.
Pretty good, right? Yeah, that was Carson Wentz last year.
Right.
He had 2 bad games. 2 bad games. The last one was a pretty bad one. Wasn't great. But that was also the first time that he had ever thrown an interception on the road, like, all year. Like, they did not lose missing out on the playoffs because of Carson Wentz last year.
Right.
A game they did, but they had another 16 games where they could have played better on other games. But he actually played pretty well. And so I do think that Washington's getting a decent quarterback. I mean, it's very Washington Redskins like to come out and say at the beginning of the offseason that we need to land a big-name quarterback. And then you land Carson Wentz. I mean, yes, when you come out saying that, then it's underwhelming, right? They got some talent, and it's not like Dallas are world beaters, and Philly has Jalen Hurts that I'm still not sold on.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about the Giants. I mean, I think it was a decent pickup. What's stupid is that they gave up a first-round pick to get him, and then a year later they trade him for 2 third-rounders because Jim Irsay is probably doing coke again, and he decides that he doesn't want Carson Wentz anymore as his quarterback. Like, how many? Like, they're about to have their 6th quarterback in 6 years. If you don't think the owner's a cokehead off of those stats, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
that is kind of some crackhead mentality right there. He was like, we got to get off of him now. We got to do something. Trade him. Get out of here. And then he wakes up tomorrow morning. He's like, what the hell did I just
do? He wasn't that bad.
Commander?
Like, I mean, I don't know. Carson Wentz was not that bad last year.
Yeah, I agree.
He was not the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback from 18, 19, and 20. He played better football.
Yeah, I kind of dogged him out towards the beginning of last year, just because I didn't think he was going to work out in Indy, and he proved me wrong. Like, he played a good year in Indianapolis, and I thought he was going to come back even after that loss to the Jags. Even after as mad as the team was with that performance, but yeah, there he goes.
Hey, they're not getting rid of Jonathan Taylor, right?
Right.
Yeah, the man that had like 50 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah.
Played like shit, just like Carson Wentz, but they're not getting rid of Jonathan Taylor.
So my only
he had 1,500 yards.
My only 2 cents about this is that, yes, it's only Wentz, but unfortunately with the division that they're in, does that put them as a second best overall team in that division? Yes, I feel like it pushes them. So that definitely pushes them as some sort of wild card playoff contender for that. So it's like, it's an improvement for Washington, not the improvement that you necessarily they hyped it up to be, but like, it's good enough to make them now a talk of And if you watch more than 2-3 episodes of the show, you know how much I do not like Washington football team as a whole. And he may call them the Redskins, but I'm gonna stick to Washington football team. But like that definitely does push them, as much as I hate them, as very much probably more of a contender than my Steelers are at this current phase of the NFL.
I don't know about all that, but
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. They're more of a contender than my Seahawks are right
that's
now.
what I'm saying. Is they're more of a contender than my Steelers are at this point in time.
they
We
have
struggle for
talent.
third place in our division right now.
I just want to say we all have an iteration of what we call this team. I'm going to call them the Commanders. Malin's calling them the Redskins.
Jesus.
Shaq's calling them Washington football team. G Money is saying the sexual predators traded for Wentz
There you go.
since they really
There you go,
didn't
the
give up
Washington
much.
Predators.
That's
That's
more
what
of a
we're
name than
calling
the
them.
Commanders.
From now on, we're calling them the Washington Predators.
The Washington
That
Predators.
is their name on this show. I don't give a shit.
The only thing
who
to
comes
complete
on
this is
show.
putting Big Ben as our quarterback. It's Washington
They
Predators.
are,
Cherry
yeah,
on top.
that would be. Listen, man. Hire Mike Vick as your offensive coordinator and you're fucking set. But no, you're right. Like,
Kobe's
okay,
your
if
quarterback
they can,
coach.
if they can make the wild card, that's a big win for that franchise because they got to roll out that dumbass name and them stupid fucking jerseys. They need to win something.
I couldn't even finish his chat here. He says the sexual predators traded for Wentz since they really didn't give up much for him, and being in the NFC East, he's probably the second best quarterback there. Yeah, good move. Good move.
I think he is the second best quarterback.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And I think that they have probably and their roster is the second most talented roster in the division. And we're having 7 teams now make the playoffs. They're probably in the top 10 in the NFC, so all they need is a couple breaks to go their way. They could be a wild card team. So it could happen. It could happen. Just Carson Wentz may or may not look like a predator himself. I'm just saying.
Well,
A lot less of a predator than Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that man looks like he's. Never mind. Let's continue. I'm not going to
Next
say it.
story.
I want this show to continue.
Moving into the NBA here, we had a bunch of 50-point games this
Wait,
past
we're going to
weekend.
the NBA, or we're not staying with Ridley?
Oh, yeah, my bad. I skipped right on over Mr. Ridley. So Calvin Ridley will not be playing this next season, this upcoming season. For betting on games last season, apparently he bet around $1,500, and the NFL was able to track it back to him, even though he went through the covert Jason Bourne hacking level betting out of state. Nobody could pick up on that paper trail. They still found him.
Him using his own fucking cell phone to bet the games.
I'm sorry, but this show may or may not get canceled for this comment, but that is black ignorance to the peak. You are making millions of dollars a year, and you're betting $1,500, which ruins you out of more money than anything else. You can't tell me that's the most ignorant shit you've ever seen in your life. This man's over betting
From his own phone.
from his phone. It's like, if that isn't the most ignorant shit I've ever seen in my life. I read this article and it's like, really? Really?
Don't tell me who
This
did
man's
that.
not
Yes.
even smart enough to be like, hey, Auntie May, put money on this
Exactly.
game
Yeah,
for me.
let me see
Exactly.
let me
I'll
see
give
your
you
phone
the
real quick.
money. Like, really? Like, okay, so he came out and said that he doesn't have a gambling problem.
Right.
The man has a gambling problem because he was willing to gamble $1,500 versus $11 million.
That is literally a
Because
pocket
if you
change
get
for
caught
this man.
yeah, if you get caught gambling, you lose a year. Like, people are saying, oh well, the NFL was too harsh and yada yada because he wasn't even playing and this or that. The rules are simple. You get caught gambling, you get suspended for at least a year. Now, it could be more than a year because it's indefinitely. Roger Goodell's over there making $44 million a year, laughing at his $1,511 million dumbass. And like, I could hold you out for as long as I want to. And for all the people that are out there saying, how can the NFL suspend a man for betting on games when we have fantasy football and we have a team in Vegas and they're allowing all this betting and stuff? Can these idiots not fucking understand that you can't have people that actually play the games,
Right. The fuck?
betting on the game? You can't have any of it because the only way the NFL keeps making money off of this is if the NFL is on the up and up, and you can't have a shred of compromise of the integrity
Yeah.
of the league. So I don't give a shit if he was playing or not. It's the dumbest goddamn thing you can do. And like, listen, I use different zip codes so that I can sports bet.
Yes.
I'm not playing in the NFL.
That's like LeBron saying, bet we
I'm
lose
not
this
making
next game.
$11 million next year at Starbucks. I can take the gamble.
That's like LeBron saying, bet we lose
fuck, dude?
this next game and go 2 for 32 and then a busting in the game. It's like, yes.
Not only does he get suspended next year, right? He had 2 years left on his contract. Now he's going to be a year older when that contract comes up because he doesn't get that year of service. So he still has to play the next 2 years. So he's going to be a free agent a year older. He's going to make less money on the next contract.
G
What
Money
in the-
says the worst thing is he didn't even win his bet.
Because he was making these dumbass parlay bets that nobody fucking wins on.
Yes, this man's making bets from watching our show. That's what it sounds like.
He did an 8-team parlay. 8-team. He basically bet on half of the fucking games.
18 parlay, my guy. The fuck is wrong?
Bet on half of the games with $1,500. Like, you didn't just make $9 million this last year? You're that bored being injured that you got to make an 18 parlay for $1,500 on your own fucking phone? You don't have a single family member that you could have make that bet for you? You don't got a friend? You don't have a phone a friend? You can't call an agent? Hey, agent,
No.
bet this for me. You can't do none of that? No.
Calvin.
Why? Stupid.
Calvin
Stupid.
Snowden is what they call him. This man's a
He
super genius.
deserves to lose his $11 million. He
Stupid.
deserves the shame.
You know,
And all of these people that are out there thinking that it's too harsh of a punishment, they deserve to stub their fucking toe and lose a toenail and just bleed all over the goddamn place because they're not smart either.
I have not
Ridiculous.
come across those idiots, thank God. But the big thing that shows like he really is an idiot is that after all this, he doesn't seem remorseful at all. Like him on Twitter saying, "It's only a year, LOL." Like, really. That's your response to all this?
It's not even about the time frame. The fact that you're stupid enough to do it. That's like the amount of money that you're losing off the process off of $1,500. Stupid.
And okay, so and here's another argument that these. I really wish the NFL had smarter fans sometimes, right? But it's always
It's a lawsuit we're gonna have.
it's always the people on the internet and the keyboard warriors, the dumbest of the dumb that ends up like throwing all the shit out there, right? So you have people out there, oh well, so and so beat his wife and he's only gonna end up getting like a 6 to 8 game suspension or something like that. Okay, well, two things. First of all, Ray Rice knocked out his wife in an elevator, never played again. So let's calm it, okay? Adrian Peterson did beat his kid, and he ended up coming back because there wasn't a video of it. But also he's Adrian Peterson, okay? And teams want to win, but domestic violence isn't going to kill the league.
Right.
Betting on football could kill the integrity of the league. The league jumped baseball not just because of the baseball strike, but because of the popularity of fantasy football and sports betting. It's huge. So you throw the integrity of that out, and you're like, you got nothing.
I would love to see you have this argument with somebody on the internet who believes the opposite side of that. I could hear it now.
I wouldn't want to see it because I don't want to go. I don't want to see you go to prison. So that's the only reason I don't want to see it. I would love to have you in the
Jalen,
free world.
I have already gotten banned from Facebook 4 times over the last year for 30 days because of dealing with these dipshits. Okay, I think. And literally, over the last 12 months, I've been banned for 4 of them.
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't want to see you
Shit
get
like
involved.
this. Because of shit like this. Because these people that think this shit get in cars every day and endanger lives by operating a vehicle. Okay? I'm nervous. Like, God bless America. That is.
All right. Good luck, Calvin Ridley. Maybe you have a career in hacking upcoming
It's
after
only
the football.
1 year and $11 million to him. Whatever. Jesus.
All right, now we move into the NBA. So, we had a couple 50-point games these past few days. LeBron put up
Couple?
a few.
It's 16 of them, it felt like.
LeBron put up 56 against the Warriors. Jason Tatum scored 54 against the Nets. John Morant scored 52 against the Spurs. And then Kyrie scored 50 against the Hornets last night. My question to you guys, out of all of these 50-plus point games that these dudes had, which do you think was the most impressive, Shaq?
My short story, I'm more impressed with LeBron and his 56 point, almost 60 points going in. People are dogging this man about his old age and this man doing this and this man doing that. I think this just reminds people that it's still LeBron at the end of the day. If need be, homeboy can still put up his points and still put up numbers if he needs be. I can judge by y'all looks, y'all judge me by this. But I'm going to still stick to my options of LeBron and stick with LeBron's numbers of doing this. I don't hear shit from you, man, because you were hyping this man up 2 weeks ago about LeBron being the greatest player ever to touch basketball. So I heard nothing from you.
Time out. Hold on. Did Shaq just say something positive about LeBron James and the Lakers?
I have never said anything wrong. I just literally said this man's a third.
Did he just say something positive about the Lakers?
Not
and
the
LeBron
Lakers,
James?
LeBron. Not the Lakers.
Okay,
The Lakers is
does
a
LeBron
trash as
James
fuck, but
play on the
LeBron.
Lakers? Does LeBron James play on the Lakers? They just beat the Golden State Warriors.
Is LeBron a human? Does LeBron play basketball?
I'm just saying. That is shocking that that's what you came up with. That LeBron, because you haven't said a single positive thing about the Lakers since I've been on this show. So props to you for getting over prejudice of the Lakers. You did fit in there the fact that LeBron James is old. I will say that was a backhanded compliment because you did point out his age. He is the second oldest person to score over 50 points. The only person to score more than him is Kobe Bryant with 60 points on his last game. And I think Kobe Bryant took like 1,000 shots to get that 60 points. But, you know, whatever. We can talk about that because he died in a helicopter crash. But anyway, so, out of these, a few interesting things on this. Yeah, this show's about to get canceled, guys.
You said a lot. You said a lot in an hour.
There has been some mourning and a lot of drinking going on in the last 48 hours. And Russell Wilson's no longer my quarterback, so I get to say whatever I want. LeBron James scored 56 against Golden State. That is a really cool feat. It'd be great if LeBron James had a team around him to where he didn't have to score 56 points. But he did. Like, in the first quarter, he looked at Matt Stafford and said, since you're here, I have to put on a show. And then he put on a show. What I thought was funny is that Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl champion, in my mind, best wide receiver in the league, is out there fishing for courtside seats because he said that he'll take one for the team for the Lakers to keep winning because it seems like every time a Ram is sitting sideline, they win because Von Miller, he won when Von Miller was there. And so Cooper Kupp fishing for some tickets and some recognition. So I thought that was kind of funny. Morant with 52, he's been doing a lot of crazy things. But to me, I mean, it is what it is. He's probably like top 3 in my MVP vote right now. Irving scoring 50 against Charlotte. A couple things about that. One, it had to be in Charlotte because his dumbass still can't play in New York because he can't get the vaccine. So it had to be on the road. So cool for him because Ben Simmons still isn't playing. And so to me, the best one was the 54 that Tatum put up against Brooklyn.
Amen.
I watched that game. I watched the Laker game. Okay. I watched Morant. I did not watch Irving because I could care less what the fuck Brooklyn does against Charlotte. So I watched the other 3 games. Tatum just couldn't be stopped. It didn't matter what they tried to do. He couldn't be stopped. He was scoring at will. To me, one of the funniest things was that Tatum was trying to quiet the crowd because they were talking shit about Kyrie Irving while Boston was trying to hit free throws. That's how drunk Boston fans are, that they don't even realize they're supposed to be quiet when their own team's shooting free throws. So that was kind of funny. But I got to go with Tatum with that 54 against Brooklyn because he was just unstoppable in that game. And Brooklyn's been playing a little bit better. Like Kyrie Irving just dropped 50. And Golden State, like, yes, they beat Golden State, so it sounds good, but everyone's forget about the fact that Golden State had already lost 2 out of their last 10 games. So they've been on a little bit of a skid, and they hadn't been playing well. So I'm going Tatum.
I would love to agree with you, Malin, but I'm actually going to disagree with both of you guys. I'm going to say Kyrie because the man put up 50 on only 19 shots. That is stupid. I mean, Jesus, God, everything was going in. And, like, he hit 9 3-pointers. He was out of his vaccine-free mind that game.
There wasn't a defender within 3 feet of all 19 shots that he had to take. It was Charlotte, for God's sakes.
It's still pretty hard to do.
It's like playing in the G League.
G Money also says LeBron is going to get injured. LeBron's going to get injured now and be out for the rest of the season thanks to Shaq.
I'm sorry for giving this man recognition for throwing up damn near 60 points in a game, and then we get hate on me for giving him recognition.
When we get to our what's up with that, when we come back, I've got a lot to say about all of this. I'll save it for that. But
listen, Shaq, I applaud you for giving the Lakers some sort of credit. So yeah. I applaud you on that. I did not expect that. I didn't think you would say Tatum because you don't like Boston because you're a Miami bandwagon fan. I actually thought that you were going to say Morant, but it was
a little shocking there.
You threw me a curveball. You threw me a curveball there, Shaq. So look at you coming up with stuff. So really, Kyrie Irving, huh?
That is mine, yes.
Okay. All right.
Next news story here. So the Warriors were finally able to break their losing streak against the Clippers. But in the pregame shoot-around, Jackie Moon came out to help the Warriors get up some shots. What'd you think about Will Ferrell coming out to help the Warriors break their losing streak?
First of all, Will Ferrell is one of the greatest actors that we've ever seen. Because that man stayed in character during warm-ups in a basketball game. Like, that man did not break character at all. And he damn near hit a half-court shot.
Yeah.
Like, he hit, like, it was, like, a little bit past the edge of the logo, so he was maybe, like, 8 feet in from half-court. And he drained one, and no one reacted at all when he hit it. And he was like, I hit this, and he was like, okay, well, fuck everybody. So that was a funny video. I really kind of wish that, and if I can never have to see Will Ferrell wear shorts that small again in my life, I'll be a better person for it. So that was neat. But just to get, like, here's the crazy thing about the NBA. And this is what I hate about making picks in the NBA. How is it that the Lakers can lose 7 straight games to the Clippers? And then the Lakers can beat Golden State. And then Golden State and loses to the Clippers. How? Somebody explain to me what is happening in the NBA this year. Nothing makes sense.
That's the best part of the NBA. There's no rhyme or reason to anything that goes on. It is just pure mayhem once the clock starts off. It is the most entertaining thing in the world to me. How do we have people in the Hall of Fame going to the Hall of Fame basically for basketball and still god awful?
We'll get into that in just a little while. I promise you.
Is that not wild though?
It is. It blows my mind every
Just
day.
like his ball handling.
That's why I don't like betting on the NBA in the regular season or making picks until the playoffs.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because it is just a shit show. Like, that was just insane. But yeah, Will Ferrell, short shorts.
Amazing.
That was...
I hope he travels
Yeah,
with the team.
my eyesight's a little worse now. But that's fine. Hey, not for nothing, but Will Ferrell is a Seattle Seahawks fan.
Really?
It's not like Snoop Dogg to where he roots for whatever city he's in at that given point in time when he goes there. Like that's Snoop, right? Like whatever city he happens to be in on Sunday,
Yep.
that's his favorite team.
Bust
No,
out the
Will
jersey.
Ferrell has actually been a Seattle Seahawks fan since like the 90s. I don't know what made him a Seattle Seahawks fan in the 90s because we were fucking terrible. He's been one. So, shout out to that.
So it's only bandwagoning if the team is good, but if you join a random team when they're bad, it's not bandwagoning. Is that the concept we're
Correct.
going on? Okay.
But yeah, because you're talking about the fact that you're a Miami Heat fan. Yes, that is bandwagoning, and the fact that you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, that's also bandwagoning. Will Ferrell, no. You,
All right.
yes. I
So-
just want to make that clear.
So it's just fuck
Yeah,
Shaq.
we're
All
on
right.
the same
All right. I
side.
just had to clarify
Hey,
that.
if you move your head, Shaq, just about 3 inches to the left, you'll do another solar eclipse for me with that big ass forehead of yours, and it'll be awesome. Want to go ahead and
Yeah.
make that happen?
Look.
Listen,
This show's
NASA's calling. NASA just put out an alert right now that the solar eclipse is happening. It's great.
Malin, are you trying to
tweeted
give our
it.
neighbors a heart attack right now? A solar
Neighbors,
eclipse?
no, because like Shaq is probably fucking doing Morse code with his head right now. The way he's moving it, he's probably doing an SOS signal to the neighbors, like a hostage situation.
Speaking of Shaq.
This show's great.
Russell Wilson is no longer my quarterback. I can say whatever I want this show.
Last but not least, with all these quarterbacks now off of the market here, who is going to be the next quarterback of Shaq's Steelers? That's the ultimate question here.
I will go for this in this one. There's one or two things that happen. Either one, we're gonna draft a trash ass quarterback from the new draft, or two, we're gonna end up with Jameis Winston. That is legit the only two options I feel like our team is gonna make, because our team's not legit. We're making great decisions when it comes to stuff like that. So the draft pick of Jameis Winston, I will bet money on that being the only two options we make.
If you had to put your money on one, which
Jameis
one would it
Winston
be?
is gonna unfortunately end up on the team. It's gonna be a last minute choice. They're gonna wait till everybody else is off the market, and then we're gonna be like, Jameis Winston, hurry up! Give me a 4-year deal. Let's go.
4-year
I
deal.
hope that happens only for the fact that means that Seattle won't sign him. Because they need a quarterback. Because right now they got Geno Smith and Drew Lock.
I will.
So
I want to say, for the sake of the entertainment for the show, I will buy a Jameis Winston Steelers jersey for the shits and giggles if this team is stupid enough to buy it.
Oh
The
my God! I hope they do this.
If they draft Jameis,
Why?
if they pick up Jameis Winston, I will buy a Jameis Winston jersey.
I will buy you a pack of Winston cigarettes. I do that.
He's gonna need them.
Holy
And I will
crap.
wear them every single show for the NFL season as long as they have him. Every single show, if they draft Jameis Winston as their quarterback, I don't give a damn.
My
If the
God.
Steelers sign Jameis Winston, Shaq's gonna be so goddamn happy. He's gonna need like a cigarette, like he just had sex in a cold shower.
Rudolph or
Like, he's just
Jameis
gonna be-
Winston. Rudolph or Jameis
Yeah.
Winston. That would legit be the options every single Sunday. And
All
I
right,
would.
so if they draft a quarterback, who are they gonna draft?
It doesn't fucking matter. It's still gonna be trash. Rudolph is still gonna be a starting quarterback. There's the thing. If they draft a quarterback, Rudolph will be a starting quarterback, and it still wouldn't fucking matter.
Well, if Rudolph's your quarterback, he won't be playing in December because he kind of has to fly Santa around. He's probably gonna be raping somebody. So here's my thoughts about the
A lot of
Steelers.
rape on this show.
Yeah, a lot of.
I think you should make sort of link in the hotline for.
So I thought that the Steelers were going to be in on Kenny Pickett, right? That quarterback out of
right.
Pittsburgh. I really thought they were going to be a player for him, but apparently he has midget hands. The average hands of an NFL quarterback is 10 inches. The best of them have hands of like 10 and a half. Like Russell Wilson has like 10 and a half inch hands, right? Apparently, Kenny Pickett did the short end of the stick with 8.5 inches. And apparently that means that he's not going to be a good quarterback in cold weather. That's what they're saying. I don't know.
We're here to offend every
That's
group
just-
of people: midgets,
But they're,
Native
That's what they're
Americans.
that man, that
You don't give a
man
fuck.
apparently has some dwarf hands. It means that he's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't know. I still think that Kenny Pickett would be the obvious choice for the Steelers because he
Yeah.
played for the University of Pitt. He's not going to go in the first round. They'll be able to pick him up in another round. I guess the small hands matters. I guess he had a little bit of a fumbling issue in Pittsburgh. I don't know. But I really thought that it was going to be Kenny Pickett. Just for the sake of being able to shit on Shaq for the next year, if they traded for Jimmy G, I would love that. That would just be hilarious to me if they had Jimmy G as their quarterback. So I would really think that it's either going to be Jimmy G, is going to be Kenny Pickett, or it's going to be Shaq's favorite at this point to be the quarterback. What do you think, Jalen?
I'm gonna go with Kenny Pickett. They usually draft well. Hometown kid. I think that small hands and all, they'll end up taking him. At least to me, that's what they should do. But
Something
Hey,
something
did-
strikes me. I will
didn't-
get shit-faced drunk every Sunday for NFL season.
Did Jameis Winston eat his hands in the pregame against
That's
the
true.
Saints a few years ago?
That is true.
So maybe he only has 8.5 inches with fingers right now. Man out there stealing crab legs and eating his fingers. I don't know.
Our
Maybe-
team has a
maybe
very
that's happening.
bad habit of drafting people who want a criminal record who has one. So here we are. Gonna pick up Jameis Winston, Mr. Crab Legs, Mr. 30 for 30, Mr. My Eyes Don't Work, Mr. Look, it's
I mean,
just
Mr. Jared Ford here in Tampa.
Outside of Big Ben and Antonio Brown, maybe Le'Veon Bell loved the weed a little bit too much. Outside of those three, had a pretty good run. I mean, listen, Rudolph only looks like a pedophile.
you literally just named anybody successful in the Pittsburgh in the last 5 years. That
No.
No. Well, no. Listen, did they win a Super Bowl in the last 5 years?
Yes, with
No.
criminals.
Did I mentioned Troy Polamalu.
yes, have you watched The
I
Longest
think he
Yard?
coulda- Listen, I think he could have done a little bit better with head and shoulders for them locks, but whatever. But you know, did I mention Harrison? Harrison might have killed somebody at this point.
You literally
I don't know. There's no video on it. Hines Ward. He's a pretty stand-up guy, right?
TJ
Just
Watt.
saying, you guys have had some good people. Yeah, TJ Watt. He's good.
Y'all literally clown me for being a Steelers fan.
I'm not clowning you. I'm saying, no, you're the one that said that you guys have a penchant for getting all these bad people. I'm trying to say they don't.
You're just doing this for positive aspect and hopes that they do bad when it comes to picking up quarterbacks, so you guys get to clown me for 17 weeks.
Okay, this needs to stop. We need to go to a break.
First of all, when Shaq is laid back in his chair, I swear to God, it looked like a satellite coming into the atmosphere, like burning up, like the way that it just kind of went down like that. That was great. So welcome to Earth.
The show's
Shaq.
great.
It's great. Choose some oxygen. Yeah.
All right.
I tried to say something nice about the Steelers one time in my life, and Shaq got mad about it.
After calling me a bandwagon after the next category.
That is it for the news this week. We are going to go to a break.
I'm just saying, I said halftime would end at 11:30. It's about 11 o'clock. It's
okay, folks, because there's only 2 segments on the other side of the show, as if there wasn't 2 segments on the first side of the show. Anyway, we're going to go to a break.
Good.
We'll be back in 7
We're
and a half
talk about
minutes.
Dwight Howard. There we go.
Be here until 3:30. Here we go.
When we bring him in.
Last man standing wins. Team Sonor is the 12th pick. Just that fast. Going back in. Who's going next? Pick 11. Team Nestor goes. Let's get these out of the way. It's a methodical process. Team Johnson goes next. Pick number 10. Didn't even care to eat it. Who's next? Washington football team, DC. Hold on, technicality. The checks is still on the table. Going back in. Sloth goes. Sorry, Uncle Shaq. Gonna take the paper too. Fair enough. Okay, and then, Team Meyer. Is he gonna take it? Yeah, he's gonna take it. There it goes. Alright, who's going next? D+5 off the board. Alright, who's going next? The paper does not count. Dowdy goes first, and then Team Lambert. It's going back in. Last 4. Who's pick number 4? Team Warren goes at 4. Who's going at 3? Talking Demon goes at 3. Number 2. Leave your own dad. He put him at number 2. What a shame. Congrats to Morgan, Washington football team, DC, number 1 pick.
How about this? Here's my bet. I will show up to the bar with the Juju jersey. If we win, I will give it to you, and you have to wear the Juju jersey on the show next Wednesday if the Steelers win.
But Shaq cannot take the jersey off at any point during the game.
That's fair. fair
On
enough.
the whole game.
They bring 5. Smith goes sideline. It's caught by Morgan, who lost the football, and it's recovered by Swain. Inbounds with the clock running and no timeouts. And they scramble to kill it. Down to 3 and 2. They line up with 1.
Yeah, pretty freaking plain.
I'm chucking the shit. It's Del Mabry. By the way.
How can you not see that there is 1 second on the clock? This is emotional. Boy, you better spike the shit out of this, Gino. Oh, what do you mean, wide left? There was. No, he thought we were friends. Hey, folks, let's shut up. We ain't done yet. Come on. Get off the ball.
I respect your attitude here.
We'll be quiet.
No, it's great. You're laughing and having a good time.
He's the one drinking beer. I'm drinking water.
Did you know AFR is also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts? Click the first link in the description below to listen to the most recent episode of the show.
8 fans fell out of the stands as Jalen Hurts is walking into the tunnel. I will just preface this by saying all those people were just fine, no serious injuries. They were all right, but goddamn, that was funny to watch.
Fortunately, knowing how the Eagles fans are built, the last thing you should do is lean their body weight against anything.
First of all, you got to be a real diehard Eagles fan to be reaching out that far to get a high five from Jalen Hurts. Like I said, is only averaging 188 yards passing the game. Okay, I'm just saying.
Live chat here, TW1. I swear, y'all come out of fucking potholes like cockroaches. Steady Eagles haters. We aren't going to win the Super Bowl, but we might win the wild card.
What does
maybe.
What does that matter? What does that matter?
TW1, 50% of teams have a shot at winning the wild card. Maybe.
I swear to God, these Eagles fans just really be riding whatever wave they can catch. They could catch a rip off a puddle that would rhyme it.
I love how we're not even talking about the Eagles right now.
Yes, it is right.
Fuck you even find this, bro.
He's like, we're talking about the other team in Pennsylvania, people.
First question. Who is currently leading the NFL in reception yards?
I'm going with Arizona.
I'm a player. Sorry, player.
He went with a
Larry.
team.
I'm going with Larry.
Larry who?
Fitzgerald.
Oh my
He that
God.
dude? No.
Current.
Currently.
He's not still in the Arizona Cardinals? Where's he at?
Cooper.
Home.
Just drink.
Oh,
Which current quarterback that is actively playing has thrown the most interceptions so far this season?
Heineke.
No. Okay, no. It's Mahomes and Zach Wilson. Dang it.
Really?
Yes.
Drink. You deserve that L. Do it.
Your head coach, Ron Rivera, he won a Super Bowl in the 80s as a part of what team?
Fuck it, Michigan.
No.
Wait.
NFL.
NFL, my guy. NFL.
Oh. Oakland Raiders.
That's a good guess.
That's good. It was Washington, wasn't it?
It was the Bears, actually.
Oh, the Bears. Okay.
Which current running back, has the most yards at the first initial contact?
Jesus.
45 seconds.
What was your answer?
You were wiping your forehead. Don't worry about it.
What they got to do with me?
Henry.
Does me wiping my forehead change time?
It does because that's like a time zone.
Who was our quarterback at Washington or Redskins? He was the first black quarterback on the Washington football team. Why are you asking me this? Oh my God. Jason Campbell.
No.
Hell no. I want to see the first black quarterback.
Nigga, he's black, isn't he?
The first black quarterback on Washington football team. Or
Doug Williams is just as black. Ryan knows he needs some water.
If Ryan makes you do the entirety of the show, give him a medal order for it.
I mean, listen, hey, he thought that Fitzgerald was still playing, so.
Not just still playing, but had the most.
At an all-pro level.
Remember to follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at AFR Sports. That's it, AFR Sports. Now back to the show with your hosts Jalen, Shaquille, and Malin.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You guys beat us back this time. No concern there.
Well,
I hope everybody had a good break. We are going to open this thing back up with our second half shot like we always do.
I like how that you suggest this is only my second shot.
Well, for Shaq and I, our second shot. Okay. So, we're going to open up second half of the show with, of course, what is up with that? Now, I would like to go first on this one since we were kind of teetering on this earlier in the show. This is, of course, the fact that Russell Westbrook does not want the crowd of stadiums to call him Russell Westbrick. He finds it to be offensive and like kind of like a I don't know, an attack on his family name, basically. People modifying it and calling him Russell Westbrook. But yeah, he has clearly said that he has a problem with it. But to me, just play better. I don't understand why you would have a problem with this if you played better. Like if it was a Mr. Triple Double or West Buckets, something like that. Probably wouldn't have a problem with that, but because it's a negative connotation, you have an issue with it when you could just play better and the problem would be solved altogether. Russ, once again, gets in his own way, and the last thing you'd want to do is to come out and say what bothers you, because now what do you think every single away crowd is going to yell?
Westbrook.
Anytime he does anything, like, it's probably shouldn't have mentioned that it bothers you to begin with, but what the hell is up with Russell Westbrook lately? And yes, I of course have to play this little clip of him pregame trying to dunk.
Oh God, this is just great.
Trying to dunk off the backboard and missing it entirely.
Oh.
Can't with
when
this
you
man.
watch this, like he looks up like it was the backboard's fault.
Right.
Do you see that at the end? He looks up like the backboard didn't do its job. Well, I mean, you can't even.
It's if it moved.
I'm trying so hard not to get us canceled on this show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a shot.
Like,
you can't even use the backboard to your advantage during warm-ups. Yet you have a problem with people calling you Westbrook.
Yep.
That's what's happening right now. Like Magic Johnson had to make a plea to Lakers fans to rally behind Russell Westbrook. I have never heard a former player of a team have to come to the defense of someone to tell the fans to lay off the hate. That is just, I don't even know what to say. I mean, yes. I mean, okay. Do his kids need to be at the arena hearing his dad being heckled? No, that's not cool. I understand that as a dad, right?
Right.
But like you just said, perform in a way to where you won't be heckled. You make millions of dollars. I think $40 million a year. Play basketball. Put the ball in the fucking rim. That's all you gotta do. And you won't be heckled.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, if you're gonna throw up that many bricks, retire and go be a contractor and build houses. Like, I don't know what the problem is or why. It's like you just said, every away game they go to, they're gonna heckle his ass now. It's just insane.
Something else on the Lakers that I did want to mention. I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the beginning of the NBA season, when we all made our predictions for how we thought the season was going to go, I'm not even going to get into what you guys expected of the Lakers, especially Shaq. I won't even get into any of that.
Hey, I thought the Lakers would be good.
But
They let me down.
at one point, I called the Lakers old, and Malin thought that was disrespectful. But then, a couple sentences later, he also called Draymond Green a clown who just gets rebounds.
Did.
I just want to know how me calling the Lakers old was disrespectful, but that was all good.
Okay. I see where we're going here. What's up with that is now a shit show on me. That's fine, Jalen. Kick a man while he's down. I get you. I get it. Two things. One, Draymond Green has always been a clown that gets rebounds. It doesn't matter what his age is. Okay? There actually were players on the Lakers that have actually had a reputation of greatness before they became old. Okay? That's real. Alright? Draymond Green is going to be a clown getting rebounds whether he was 20 or 40. Age is not a factor in that. So that's how I'm going to defend myself. Now, yes, the Lakers did let me down. They're old as shit. They're brittle. They are, they're like someone that built a fucking gingerbread house during Christmas and they still have it up for display now in the first week of March, okay? It's old and brittle and that shit's about to break apart. That's what the Lakers are right now. They're an old-ass fucking gingerbread house. But no, I stand by it. Still a fucking clown that gets rebounds. All it is. Go ahead, Shaq.
Fair enough.
Short and brief, because this is something we discussed earlier. Why are we paying an old-ass A-Rod this amount of money for no reason at all? Man bun having an ass and all. For what? For what? This man is creeping towards the end of his career. Probably could have retired this past season, and I would have been okay with it. But we're gonna pay this man $154 million guaranteed for what? To do the same shit he's been doing for the past 2-3 years, wasting all of your cap space just about to waste time, waste cap space with the same talent he's been wasting for the past couple of years, and then you're gonna act like you're upset when he wasted. Like, oh shit, we didn't make playoffs. Oh, we went one and done. It's like, stop being surprised. You knew what you were getting yourself into when you paid this man all this money. At this
Now,
point
Shaq.
Wait a minute. Let me ask this question, Joe.
Okay.
If Shaq was, or not Shaq, if Aaron Rodgers was traded to Pittsburgh, would you still be saying all this shit?
Only because
you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You would be saying Super Bowl, here we come. If you had Aaron Rodgers on your, you sound like the jilted girl that never even got to date the guy. Like, that's what you sound
the only
like
difference is because of the situation that we're in. We got Rudolph as a starting quarterback at this current phase of our franchise.
Even if you had Big Ben 5 years ago.
Rudolph or Jordan Love?
Not even 5 years ago. Maybe I would still take Big Ben 5 years ago, but like maybe 2-3 years ago, I'll be like, we could take A-Rod over this. But like at this point in the career, as like Green Bay, as they've still known as a high and worthy Green Bay, I'll still try to feed off of that and try to get off a good quarterback to join our team. But like paying this man this amount of money is my issue. Not even just keeping him as a quarterback, but like, hey Rod, you gotta take a hit somewhere. You can't just take all this type of money for the issues. It's not the fact that we're taking A-Rod, it's the amount of money we're paying this man for time frame. 4 years? Really? Is that the amount of money, the amount of years and the amount of money you think this man's worth?
Right now, pre-ordering an Aaron Rodgers jersey if he was a Steeler.
But I wouldn't
You
be.
would.
I wouldn't be happy with the amount of time frame that we're thinking this man is worth. Is this man really worth 4 years of contract
You told me
money?
the Steelers signed him for 4 years. You wouldn't pre-order his jersey right now.
I would do I'd pre-order the jersey, but I would still be upset for the amount of money that we're committing to for this team.
I already had a "What's up with that" segment, but now my "What's up with that" is this flip-flopping bandwagon. Shaq is doing.
You can't
Like,
give this
you're
man
gonna go ahead
his-
and shit on Aaron Rodgers for 4 years, signing a contract, and this and that, and this is what they're doing.
Yes,
but
but-
if he was a goddamn Pittsburgh Steeler, you would buy the jersey, and you would
But
say,
this
"We're
is
winning
it-
the North, and we're going to the Super Bowl."
They're talking to the same man who's willing to buy the Jameis Winston jersey for the sake of Jameis Winston come to Pittsburgh.
They would be over here repping two-time MVP if they got Aaron Rodgers. That's
I
what
am
he would
desperate,
be saying
motherfucker.
right
I
now.
am desperate. I do not give a damn who you give me. I'm just
The
saying Green Bay
only
could be.
reason- The only reason why the Packers are paying Aaron Rodgers that money is that they know that they're only winning 3 or 4 games a year without him.
Right.
And they need to stay relevant for as long as humanly possible.
That's the thing.
They
It's
don't
like-
want to be the Packers of the 80s.
I
No one remembers who the Packers of the 80s was. Who was the quarterback of the Packers before Brett Favre? Do you know who it was?
Brett
Mike Jarowski. Okay? Yeah. He was called the Magic Man. Okay? And he got hurt. Brett Favre comes in. And the rest is history. They had a quarterback nicknamed the Magic Man when they were a 500 football team.
I agree
That's how
with
bad
the.
they
You mean
were.
the same way that we called this man Fitzmagic in the Bucks for the longest time?
Talk about him.
Well, Fitzmagic has a glorious ass beard.
All right.
And was stealing Deshaun
And also
Jackson's
played for
clothes.
90% of the league
was
as a
awesome.
quarterback.
I
Well,
agree
yeah,
with
and he
the.
also has a
the-
Harvard education. So that
Don't
man's
fool
smarter than
me,
all of us.
ACZ.
Probably has some
I
stupid
mean, clearly it's an
shit.
education the way he clowned the rest of these motherfuckers and signing him into as a quarterback.
He's over here talking. You'd get excited if Fitzpatrick was your quarterback.
I get excited they sign me as a quarterback next week. I don't give a damn.
If Aaron Rodgers was your quarterback. You're just mad that Green Bay talked him into staying and he didn't go to Pittsburgh. You wanted him in Pittsburgh. That's what it is. That's your what's.
I agree with the principle of what Shaq is saying. However, the reality of the situation, I mean, what do you want them to do? Like Malin was saying earlier, like if you look at the NFC right now, their absolute by far best option was to give him what he wanted, keep him, because what the hell else are you going to do at this point in their scenario?
Desperation cause spit out a lot of money for. Yeah.
They have at least a shot at a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
They don't
very
have a
legit
shot at
shot.
500. Yeah, they don't have a shot at a 500 record without him.
Yep.
That's why he's been the MVP the last 2 years. So he comes up small in the postseason. He does do that, but he's going to keep the Packers relevant for as long as he's willing to stay there. I'm sorry, Shaq, that he's not a Pittsburgh Steeler. That you're probably going to end up with Jimmy G or Jameis
But that's my issue. Only because the other options my team is left with as quarterbacks, as Jimmy G, Jameis Winston, or somebody fresh out of college. That's literally our options right now.
Well, the crazy thing is that it was reported up until Aaron Rodgers said that he was going to stay in Green Bay. Adam Schefter reported that the Packers had deals in place with Denver, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee. And so he was mulling over the contract of what Green Bay was going to offer him. And he could have picked any of those 3 scenarios because apparently there was already compensation trades in place. He could have gone to any of those 3 teams, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, or Denver. And he chose to stay in Green Bay. Now, I think he was smart for staying in Green Bay because it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to make it to a Super Bowl in the AFC, just like I was saying with Russell Wilson. But do I think he's worth $153 million guaranteed when he could walk away and keep all that money?
Right.
No, but I think Green Bay's desperate. That's the kind of shit that happens when you don't have an owner.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff that happens. Like he's running the franchise right now.
Right.
He can do whatever he wants, and they're gonna bend and do whatever because the moment they drafted Jordan Love, all he's done is win MVPs. Like it's not like he's been bad. He's been bad in the postseason, but they're gonna keep winning the North. Will probably keep getting the 1 or 2 seed. And to the Packers, that's worth the money to stay relevant. A lot of money to stay relevant. So, all right. Well, my what's up with that is, a few weeks ago, actually, right after the Pro Bowl, Kyler Murray scrubbed all of his social media accounts of anything Cardinals related.
Right.
And then he caught a lot of shit for it. And then his agent releases this dumbass memo of pay this man $50 million a year because he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. A 2-time Pro Bowler. Really? And act like Kyler Murray isn't one of the main reasons why the Cardinals haven't done shit the last 2 years. The second half of the year. And then all of a sudden, today, he put all of his Cardinal stuff back on his social media. Like nobody was going to notice. Like, all is well. Everything's fine. I never scrubbed my whole social media account of the Cardinals because it's been there all along. Like, we're all fucking stupid. Like, what in the hell? I don't know who is telling this man to do the things that he's doing, but whoever it is, they need to be fired.
Yeah. Strange. Absolutely. I don't... You're one of these stars of the NFL. You think nobody follows you?
When you scrub all reference of the team that you play for from your social media, people are going to notice. And they're going to put it back. In hell, 4 days ago, actually, it was more than 4 days ago. It was last week, Russell Wilson scrubbed all of his social media from the Seahawks. Should have been a telltale that he's in negotiations right now to get traded. And I say he's in negotiations because he had to approve any fucking trade that he had. So we knew he wasn't going to stay with the Seahawks. But Kyler Murray just putting all of that back on there was just hilarious to me. And like just nothing, like not even acknowledging the fact that he took it down in the first place. Just all of a sudden, like, you know, he has fucking Aladdin's genie popping out there and everything's all as well and I only use one of my wishes kind of shit. This is just, I was like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, play a full 16 or 17 game season and then try to get $50 million a year. Like, you're not going to make $50 million a year when you play like a Pro Bowl quarterback for half the year.
Right.
Every year. That's just ridiculous. That man's fucking crazy.
And that will do it for What's Up With That for episode 75. Now we will move into the Ride or Die in 25. So, last week...
Can I just say that I love that you've made it Ride or Die in 25 since I've joined the show?
I couldn't keep lying to America.
Ride or Die in 5 minutes. You're still trying to do an introduction to the segment.
Hey, listen, Shaq, calm down. Your forehead's still coming into the atmosphere right now. Settle the fuck down over there. I'll get to...
We have to give Shaq some credit.
Coming into orbit.
Because this past week, he had the best record out of all three of us.
Yeah, how about it?
In the Ride or Die in 25.
That was some bullshit. That was some
5-1. Unfriggin' believable. The only one he called incorrect was the first one. I think that was the Nets in Boston or something like that. Anyway, the other 5, though, he got correct.
There is no reason that Miami should have won.
Yes,
that
thank you.
game.
Why is it that every time I win
by 16?
Why is it that every
down
time?
by 16 with 3 of their starters out, and they win the game.
Why is it that every time I win a Rider that I'm
That's
5
ridiculous.
I'm trying to find a technicality of why I shouldn't have won that segment in the first place? Y'all can't just accept the L and move on. That y'all.
Can I tell you that my
First
dad
of all,
is a
take
big.
a breath. Get used to the Earth atmosphere.
All right.
It
Sounds like
a technicality.
sounds like a lot of petty.
They were down by 16 without 3 of their starters.
Sounds like a lot of pettiness. Pettiness. Anyway.
Ridiculous.
My dad, big Nets fan. I happened to be over at their house when they were playing Miami. He was aware that obviously they were out a lot of their starters. Very upset that they lost that game.
I'm gonna need y'all to put some respect on my name. Thank you very much.
Man, first of all, do you still have the worst record?
Yes.
Not the
Even
point.
after going 5-1, do you have the worst record?
Not the point.
He's only 2 games under 500 right now. So he's right there. Shaq's knocking on the door. This next week he
Let's
could
go combat, Shaq.
he could come out of
Let's
that
go
hole.
combat. That was good.
I went 4-2. Now I'm 61-55. Malin is of course still
It was
large,
rough for me.
large in
I
charge.
hate fucking NBA. This is ridiculous. 3-3.
3-3.
Good God.
45-30 though.
Should have been 5-1. Some dumbass things that happened in those games.
Hateful.
So we'll start this coming week off with tomorrow night the Nets at the Sixers. So we finally have James Harden going against his old team, and Ben Simmons watching his old team from the bench, just like he technically has been doing the whole year.
He hasn't actually even been on the bench. I don't know why Brooklyn is subjecting him to this. I don't know why they're making him be on the bench. I'd be like, dude, just stay in the locker room.
Steve Nash
It's
wants
not good for
to
the psyche.
wants to get him used to the booze, even though I don't know how that's going to help him if he's not fucking playing. But okay. Anyway,
I could tell you this right now. If Ben Simmons was Ron Artest, the amount of shit that Ben Simmons is gonna get, somebody be in the stands punching somebody. Like there'd be another Malice in the Palace. Like, but because Ben Simmons is weak, stand up for himself, he's gonna sit on the bench and just take a bunch of shit for a whole game.
I just love the fact that this whole trade is happening and he's still not playing basketball. Like, Jesus Christ.
And I lost another game because Harden decided to sit out. I don't know, maybe ate too much Jello or something. Like, what the? God.
Jello.
Last week pissed me off.
So, I'll go first on this one. Philly's been on a hot streak. I know Kyrie should be playing this game. But Philly's been on a hot streak. I'm going to say that the Sixers win this at home. And by hook or by crook, Sixers win this game. Malin?
God damn it. You couldn't go Shaq?
Every dog has its day.
I don't know. I mean, he was 5-1. I don't know. Maybe we should learn from the master.
That's true. Backseat.
I'm going Philly on this one too. The reason being is that I don't think Kyrie is going to score 50 points on 19 shots.
Right.
I don't think it's going to happen. I do know he will be playing because it is in Philly because his unvaccinated ass can't play at home. But there was an interesting thing that Kevin Durant kind of spilled about a conversation that him and Embiid had on the court, where Embiid said that he's the most this is on the court. Embiid said, "I'm the most dangerous player in the NBA. I could be Kobe, I could be Shaq, and I could be Kevin Durant at any moment in any game." And Kevin Durant looked at him and was like, "Shit, you're kind of right. Probably can be." It's because he literally has that killer instinct. He's a 7-footer. He can do it all. And right now, his back is not hurting him. So I think Embiid is going to go off. And I think Philly's going to take this game. Now, and Philly is 4.5 points on this game. So I'm taking the points 4.5 on this game. Write that down, Jalen.
taking the points.
I gotcha. Philly by 4.5.
Just to disappoint y'all, but mainly because I firmly believe it, I also pick Philly. I'd say they can be broken in this matter. They're on fire as a team.
Hold on, check. Kyrie dropped 50 points a couple nights ago.
Don't give a damn. Philly can win this game. Thank you for dropping this facts, though. Like we did discuss that point like 5 times throughout the show. But yeah, Philly to win this.
Well, 60 Kyrie. Why
Listen,
not?
Shaq was 5-1 last week. I don't know what voodoo he did, but maybe he can keep doing that voodoo.
Let's see if it'll maintain. Friday night, Clippers at the Hawks. Malin, would you like to go first on this one?
I don't want to, but I will. So Clippers and the Hawks. Clippers seem to be good against West teams. They don't necessarily travel very well to the East Coast. And they just lost to the Warriors. Will Ferrell was out there during the shoot around. I'm hoping that Will Ferrell is out there during the shoot around again with Atlanta. I'm gonna go and take Atlanta on this one. I think Atlanta's gonna hold serve on this one because the Clippers have not been playing that great on the East Coast. They have a 40% winning percentage on the East Coast in their last 30 games they've played on the East.
Check.
I love how Jaden tries to play statistically after me every single time.
I just went first.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna take a chance and say Clippers win this game. I say we go ahead and try to play forward and win this game. Try to prove a point. So I'm gonna say Clippers win this game.
All right, now there's a pick. I'm going to, of course, take the Atlanta Hawks.
All right.
And I think Atlanta gets the job done. Ice Tray will drop 75 points. And Clippers won't stand a chance.
I will say this, that if Shaq does another 5-0 or 5-1 shit with the NBA, I'm going to pick whatever the fuck he picks like the rest of the year. So, 'cause I don't have the same luck when it comes to NBA. I own y'all asses on the NFL, but the NBA is kind of whooping my ass right now. I was like 25 games over 500 before we started making NBA picks, and now I'm only 15. This is some shit.
All right, next game here. Minnesota at Miami Saturday night. Shaq, who wins this one?
Despite us getting worked the shit out of by 20 points tonight versus Phoenix, I am going to pick Miami to come up with this game in hopes that they're trying to redeem themselves in this game, so Miami to win.
All right, that is the safe bet, I would say. But I'm going to say take the T-Wolves on this one coming into Miami. T-Wolves been playing some solid basketball this year. I just say upset alert. I think the T-Wolves get the job done and put Miami just into a little bit of a fit right now. Not everybody can sit at the top of the East and just play perfect basketball for the remainder of the regular season. I think the T-Wolves will just keep giving the Heat a little bit of trouble right now. Nothing to be overly concerned about as Miami, but I'm taking Minnesota.
Up until tonight when they got their ass beat by the Suns without Chris Paul, which I don't know how that happened. I don't like. Do people like trip, fall, hit their head or something? Like, was everybody out there playing with a concussion? I don't know what happened. But they had won 12 out of 13, and I bet against Miami 2 times last week. I'm not doing it this week. Not doing it. So as much as it pains me, almost as much as losing Russell Wilson as my quarterback and Bobby Wagner as my middle linebacker, I have to agree with Shaq's bandwagon ass with the Miami Heat on this one. I'm taking the Heat.
I'll forever be a bandwagoner no matter how many years or games I choose the Heat.
Yes, you will. 100%.
Next game, Dallas at Boston, Sunday afternoon. Of course, give me the Boston Celtics to hold down home court. We've been playing some just outstanding basketball as of late. Dallas has also been playing pretty well lately, but I just think we're still the better all-around team. We're at home at a weird time on a Sunday. Yeah, I think that Celtics win this one. Malin.
Yeah, first of all, I like that you didn't make me go first on this one. You skipped me on going first, but because you're a Boston fan, you were eager. I like it, like, rawr, tiger. No, I'm taking Boston on this one. Tatum's dropped 54, 37, and 33 in his last 3 games. And they're 16-3 out of the last 19, Boston. They are gelling. They have figured it out. They're not the team that was playing in 2021, 2022. Something is obviously different with this team. Dallas is also playing pretty good, but we're playing in the Garden. I'm taking Boston on this one.
I am going to go ahead and choose Dallas to actually win this game. I got to go against the grain when it comes to the rest of y'all in hopes that they come through and I can continue my trend of hopefully work my way over 500. So,
okay. Shaq, if you went first, would you have chosen Boston?
Don't you worry about that. That's not a if ands. Other possibility.
That is. I'm just saying, America, this man is just trying to gain wins over us on this pick. Would have chose Boston if he went first.
Doesn't matter.
Just
Situational
saying.
game. It's called playing from behind. It's all right.
Last but not least, we have the Bucks at the Jazz late Monday night. Malin, who wins this one?
What game again?
Milwaukee and Utah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Milwaukee on this one. Milwaukee, they've been kind of riding we won a championship last year, so we're gonna kind of coast into the playoffs, kind of a deal. But outside of coming out of the All-Star break, they're 5-0. They've been playing some pretty good ball. Middleton has been playing really good. In fact, I think he had 44 points over the weekend. Not quite 50, so he didn't make the news because so many other people scored 50 points. But that man was just unstoppable in the fourth quarter of that game, even when Giannis fouled out. So I'm gonna go and take Milwaukee over Utah. In Utah, they're gonna win that game.
Shaq.
Sorry to upset y'all, but I also choose Milwaukee to win this game. Can't sleep on them no matter what happens. They're always a big contender no matter what game they go into. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Milwaukee.
Going to agree with the two of you guys. Milwaukee seems to have hit their stride now. I think they've all right, regular season is starting to come to a close here. Let's kick it back into gear. They've been playing some outstanding basketball, looking like the champions that they are. I think that they handle their business pretty much from here on out throughout the rest of the year for the most part. So looks like we are all in agreement on the Bucks. So before we get out of here, anything else you guys want to mention?
I love this show despite all the controversy against me and all the hate and Shaq slander, but it's all right.
I mean, I like how Shaq always thinks that everything's about him.
We literally made like 4 to 5 forehead jokes throughout the show. I'm sorry.
Okay, I told you that the 3 forehead jokes were null and void. I could say whatever I wanted on this show because I no longer have my decade-long middle linebacker and my decade-long quarterback.
Grieving.
I'm in mourning.
I literally had my Hall of Fame quarterback retired this past season, and here we are.
You hated your Hall of Fame quarterback, so no one cares about that. So I have not gone into the 5th stage of the 7 stages of grief, which is the upward turn. I'm going to say whatever I want. Maybe next week I'll be more happy. But yesterday was a bad day. So, yeah. I just have one question. Shaq, how's the air down in here? Is it good? Washington good?
Wonderful. Pleasant.
Okay, it's good. Make sure that you acclimate yourself to the atmosphere that is Earth.
Look, I'm okay. I get used to it.
Beautiful.
All right, America. I want to thank you all for watching, listening. Shout out to G Money and Brian for coming out into the live chat this week. We will see you all next week. Who only knows what will happen in the next week of news. Getting a bit closer to the draft, of course, so keep your eye out for that. And
one other thing really quick is that NFL free agency does start next Wednesday.
Yes.
We'll have a lot of crazy things to talk about. And you got a lot of NCAA conference tourneys happening over the weekend.
Also,
we got March Madness coming up. That's going to be pretty crazy. So we all got to fill out some brackets so that we can show America how fucking stupid we are when it comes to college basketball. So,
You've been doing 75 weeks of that, so
it'll be a fun show.
And hey, maybe MLB will actually start playing some games here.
And no, they won't. They just canceled more weeks. They're not going to start until after like Jackie Robinson Day now, so they don't know what they're doing. They're talking about international baseball drafts right now. Like that's what they're concerned about is international players, and they can just, I don't know, like go pee on a tree and get your dick beaten by a squirrel. I don't give a shit. They can. Ridiculous.
All right, folks. This is a wonderful show. Thank you for all watching for 75 weeks now. Continue to watch. We love you all. Peace.
See ya.
Peace.